Hey dolls, I'm back again to show you guys how to do this Ciara inspired bob. This hair is not ombre. This is hair I bought from my local beauty supply store. It was a 12-inch. It is cheap hair, but it works really well, and it takes heats and it curls. It's really nice. I had this hair I did this tutorial about 3 weeks ago, and since I put in my hair, everyone loved this hair. Like, I've had older women, younger women, girls. I had even guys tell me they love my hair. Like, they always ask me who does it. They absolutely love my hair, and I absolutely love my hair too. So just stick tuned. Sorry y'all, stay tuned, and we'll get it started. Well, I start off by taking out my leave out, the hair I'm going to use to cover the last track. And I just basically put my hair in two big braids, and I braid it around my head because I'm going to sew the cap on. So I do braid around my whole head over the perimeter to sew my cap on. It's optional, you don't have to do it, but I always sew my cap on for extra secureness to make sure it doesn't slip when the hair starts to get old. And basically all I have now is a cap. You can buy this cap at your local beauty supply store. They're $1. I only use one. It comes with two. I use one because I believe it lets my hair breathe more when I have the weave in. And so just start off by covering your hair with the cap, as you see what I'm doing, around your whole head. And make sure it's secure. Keep putting the big braids in. So now I'm going to take my thread and my needle, and I'm going to thread the needle in order to start sewing on the cap. You can find these products at your local beauty supply store. They run about $1 each. And basically I take out that much amount of thread and I put it through the needle in order for me to start securing the cap on and sewing around that perimeter braid that I showed you earlier. So I'm going to take the thread, as you see, and slip it through the needle. It's a pretty easy thing to do. If you don't know how to do it, I suggest you just lick the needle and the thread. It'll make it easier to slide through. I just basically thread it through the needle, and I tie a knot to keep the thread from unwinding. And then I'm going to start sewing on the cap. I start off in the beginning, as you see here. Just basically going through the braid and through the cap, pulling the needle and the thread through the braid. Just securing the cap on and making sure that it stays. So once I sew the cap all the way through to that perimeter braid I showed you, it's time for me to start gluing in the tracks. The bottom piece of my hair is a different color and a different weave. This is a 10-inch hair that I bought also from my local beauty supply store. It was $12.99, and I'm going to start off by one first measuring the track that I need to leave out, and then just basically cutting the track to make sure it fits from the part that I measured. And I'm just going to use, as you see, your basic 30-second Salon Pro super glue for hair. That bottle is the larger bottle, so it's going to run you about $1.99 at your local beauty supply store. And I just basically, as you see, put the glue on the track one by one, making sure I put enough glue so the track sticks onto the cap. If you guys do not want to use glue, you can always just sew the tracks on, but I believe it takes longer. But if you want to use glue and protect your hair, you can use the hair papers or the protective roll, and they sell those also at your local beauty supply store. You could just, I guess, ask them for some. So I already glued on one track. I basically press it down to make sure it stays. I add a little spritz to secure some more, and I blow dry to make it dry faster. And you can do this is optional, but I just do it to make the hair stay more secure as the weeks go by as I leave it in. And then after that, I just basically take a comb and I comb it out a little bit, as you see, just to keep it straight and untangled. And I just pull the hair, tug on it a little bit so you can see how secure it is. So I've done gluing a good amount of the brown hair, the bottom piece. Now it's time for me to put in the top hair. This hair is a 1B and a 613 mixed together. It was not ombre by me. I bought it at my local beauty supply store like this. And just as the brown hair, I just basically do the same thing. I measure it to the point where I need to cut it, and I just glue the tracks in one by one, as you guys see here. So I'm just measuring the weave now, stop to the point where I need it, right about there. And it's easy to do, just use your fingertips to hold one side down while you pull the other side and measure it. And I just always check it both ways, from the front and from behind, to make sure the measure was correct. And I just take a scissors and I just cut it off. And the part I cut off, I glue it on the cap. So now here, what I'm basically showing you guys is how the hair look. For the hair to be such like a cheap brand, it barely shredded. That's one plus I can say. I had this hair for about 3 weeks, and I only get like a couple strands. It doesn't get tangled, it doesn't shred, and that's what I really like about this hair, and it was super cheap. Remember, it was $12.99. So here now I'm just applying glue, just like I did for the other track that's already in my head. And I just glue onto the cap. So here it looks after I basically glued in all the rest of the hair. And I'm just putting the last little piece in to cover the last spot before I take it out and take out the leave out and comb it. But this hairstyle took me about a good 30 minutes to do. It was something quick and simple because it was on a cap and because I did use glue. You can try this hairstyle the same way, but sew it in if you guys do not like using glue. But like I said, it was pretty quick, pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive. So I'm pretty much done, and I done gluing all the tracks. So now I'm just gonna unbraid my leave out, and I comb it out, and I take my Conair flat iron that I brought from Ross like 2 years ago for like $13.99. I love this flat iron, like it works. It's been riding out for 2 years. And I just flat iron my leave out, as you see here, so it can blend in smoothly with the weave. I just comb it so it can blend in, comb the back, and it's time for me to start cutting the hair into the bob. I add a little spritz to hold it down, and I use a soft brush that you can find at your local beauty supply store also, just to blend in my natural hair with the weave to make it smooth and silky and stay down. So once I'm done, I separate the hair now in order for me to start cutting it. As you see, the back, this is the natural before I cut it, is 12 inches. And the way I usually cut hair, I use a razor. You can find a razor at a dollar store. They run about $1 to $1.99. And regular sharp scissors. And the way I cut my hair into the bob, what I usually do is just hold all the hair with a fingertip and I just cut across with the scissors. It's kind of difficult to cut if you're not good at cutting, but like I said, this isn't going to be perfect because I am doing it by myself and it was kind of hard for me to see the back of my head. But I just basically, as you see, I hold it from the front and I just cut it at a up angle. So I just pull the hair down from the front and I just cut it going up, as you see I'm doing here. So as you see in the back, that's how it looks after I cut it before I actually bump it. It isn't going to be perfect because I am kind of by myself and I wasn't able to see the back, but I think I did pretty well for the back. So now I'm just combing it, making sure everything's easy. I just take a razor and shred it to touch up the hanging hair or any hair that's uneven in the back. So the way I cut the sides is basically I just took the sides of her hair and started cutting downward, as you see, following the trend of the bob in the back. So just make it a slanted, like asymmetric kind of bob. So I just basically keep cutting all the way down on the side, as you guys see. This part will probably be easier for you to do because you will be able to see it in the mirror. But just cut it down at an angle with the tip of the scissors, just gently cutting it towards a downward slant. So the way I cut the bang is basically I separate the bang and I take the scissors and cut away from my face towards a downward angle, as you see, and it will give you a slanted bang just like that. And that's the kind of look I was going for because I didn't want the bang too high up to my face. I wanted to fall right down below by my cheeks. Sorry, I was adjusting the camera, guys. And that's pretty much how I cut the bang. I just take the shredder now just to shred the excess hair, the little strands that make it uneven, and just to even it out and make it clean. So the hair is pretty much done. I'm pretty much done with cutting the hair. So now it's time for me to flat iron it using the same Conair flat iron. I just love this flat iron, you guys. Like, it works miracles. I just flat iron each section one by one. I start off with the back, and the way I flat iron it, when I grasp the hair towards the end, I curl it underneath to give it a bump, a curl kind of look, as you see. And I just do this throughout the whole hair, making sure that it has a bumpy curl look so that it can give the bob look. So here's the finishing product after I cut and curl the hair. I thank you guys for watching the tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.